Big Z Reviews. Immaculate is a new horror nunsploitation film, and it's a really tight little horror film. I enjoyed it.
I know God saved me for a reason, but I guess I'm still searching for what that reason is. Too much blood of Christ.
It's a miracle. You are with child.
So this was directed by Michael Mohan and is written by Andrew Lobel, and it mainly stars Sydney Sweeney as Sister Cecilia, and she also was like a champion for this film. But like she auditioned for it like years ago, and it was like different, but it never got made. So then after she's kind of made her star, like she like produced it and got it, and I think it rewrote it to take place, or helped the writer change it to take place at a nunnery, and really like championed the film. And it's really kind of impressive for a young star to champion like a horror film. It's pretty cool. The advertising for this movie is pretty hilarious, with how they're going like a lot of like the Christian right are going like, they took our hot Sydney Sweeney away from us and made this blasphemous film. And it's pretty funny. But like I found that it was very interesting because essentially Sydney Sweeney is an American, and she was a nun in training, and her church closed down in America, and she apparently got this offer to go to this beautiful church nunnery in Italy, where that's essentially is a place for the elderly nuns to go for their final rest, like for like palliative care, or just to help them retire essentially. And she gets there, and there's weird stuff going down, and that's one thing. Like this has a cold opening with a nun trying to escape, going horribly wrong, and then like burying her alive. And I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of cold opens in horror films because they're like everyone uses them. Like you have to hook them in the very first second of the film, and it's like I don't know, just it almost would work better if there was more time with you not really knowing, even though this is a horror film and you know it's a horror film. If there was more time thinking that maybe this is kind of just a normal nunnery, you know. But she goes there and she has like a couple different nuns, that like one that she kind of has a repartee with, another one that's kind of bitchy to her, and then you have this like a hot father played by Alvaro Morte, and you have like the bigger one in power, and you have different doctors and stuff. And like to talk about what this film is, you kind of have to do a little bit of a spoiler. I feel like if you haven't seen this film, you should probably just not watch this review and check and save it for later until after you see this movie. Just because to talk about it, you kind of have to spoil it a bit. So I'm going to go into spoiler. I'll do another warning for like full spoilers. But essentially, this is like a modified Rosemary's Baby angle, which is kind of really interesting because essentially, like they have this saint thing. I know like a lot of like the big churches, they have some sort of like artifact, like bones of this saint or like different things, and this church, this nunnery, has a nail that hammered Jesus Christ to the cross. And that like essentially the doctor played by Alvaro Morte, he is also a scientist, and for the past couple of decades he's been trying to clone Jesus Christ, and all so far all it's led to is abominations. But Sydney Sweeney is perhaps special, and they finally perfected the technique. And there you have this like a body horror pregnancy. And it's interesting because like you have to wonder with the whole concept, like would this be the Antichrist? Would it be like if it is actually the second coming of Jesus Christ and like humans made it? Like would he then bring about the end of the world? And I kind of love that throughout the whole thing. Like, it seems like Sydney Sweeney's character, she is like a true believer. And she might even, like, there's not that much talking towards the end. Like, the third act is just brutal and nonstop and really fun. But at the same time, like, I almost wish they would have had a few moments to talk to a character, try to reason with them, like, to get a little bit more backstory or, like, what their opinions on it are. But, I mean, it's kind of cool. They, I know, like the father says, like, if this is God's will, you know, if he wanted to, he would stop us from doing this. And it's kind of interesting because, like, then maybe Sydney Sweeney is doing God's action by stopping this. You know, so she is, you know, a God forcing, you know, like, pushing the tiles in his direction, you know? And it's interesting because, like, one of my always biggest problems with religion is that, like, you say either we have, you know, complete autonomy and we're free will to humanity can do whatever we want, or God can change things. It's all part of God's plan. And I always had some qualms with that. But it's interesting how they do this, where like, you know, if God wanted his Jesus to come back like this, like they think that they're doing the right thing, and Sydney Sweeney with what she does, you know, she believes that, you know, she's doing the right thing by trying to escape and by doing what she does. And, you know, I call it a nunsploitation at the beginning, but it's not too exploitative. Like, there's a little bit of like, they're giving each other baths in a communal bath area with like see-through shifts, but there's nothing too gratuitous, you know. But it's kind of just, except, you know, it's just a really, like that. It's only like 80 minutes or something like that. So I mean, it's not a long film, and I wouldn't like towards the end, like I wouldn't mind like a little bit more discussion, but at the same time, the no dialogue and just reacting to what's happening is powerful. And he wondering, like, is she gonna do what she's gonna? Oh yeah, she is. And now a little bit into full spoilers, like to talk about the very end. Like, it's interesting that they chose not to show the corrupted baby Jesus clone, because like what they all they did was like the sound effects, and the sound, it didn't sound like a normal baby, but they didn't show it. They didn't see if it was like a demon baby or if it was just like a perfect little Christ. They didn't really go either way with it. They just kind of showed her picking up the rock and boom, and that's how the movie ends. And it's a pretty badass way to end the movie. I think they didn't want to show the baby while they crushed it. But it's the kind of movie where there's like not that much to talk about. Like, I like Sydney Sweeney, although like she's a little bit, a lot of her acting is a little just, she's not over the top with it. But like I say, except for like the big the scream moments. But I almost wish I some more emotion from her at different times. But I mean, it has an interesting role, but she's playing like Mother Mary, you know, that the virgin that's like a baby conceived without sin. Although at the same time, it's kind of a sin by the priests for like injecting the baby Jesus clone without her consent. I think that's kind of a sin. But I mean, I guess not one of the ones that are listed. But I mean, that's not a good thing to do, I would say. But I don't know. It's a really interesting, fun little film that's like perfect for Easter weekend. It's a perfect Easter horror film where you get to watch Sydney Sweeney crush the reborn baby Jesus Christ she just gave birth to. It's interesting. But I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10. I didn't love it, but it's really interesting, tight little horror flick. But thanks for watching. If you want to see more of me, you can subscribe down below. Thanks.